All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we go again. I have a longtime listener and friend here today, Corey Pugliese. I got that right, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I didn't butcher it. Corey has been around the P head world. He's actually, you helped me years and years ago with some stuff like licensing music and things. So and when I put the recent call out to anyone that would like to come on and kind of share whatever their struggles have been and hear my 2 cents on how to help shift maybe and move through those blockages. When I saw you reach out, Corey, I had to acquiesce and say, yes, please come on. Let's chat, man. It's been too long. And you even visited here at the Manor, Mystic Manor, a few years ago, one of our events, if I recall.
Yeah.
And yeah. So great to see you and hear you. And what is new and exciting with you, my friend?
Yeah. It's great to be on here after so many years. It's like I didn't realize when thinking about it, but like I started listening in 2016,
Wow.
which was like, gosh,
Holy
what is that? Like 9
9
years
years.
ago. I can't believe the time flew by. Like I feel like I just met you and
Yeah.
went through this whole because I feel like this podcast was the beginning of my spiritual journey in a big way, and me
Yeah.
finally
Totally.
realizing that I'm not alone in all the crazy thoughts that I
Yeah. Right.
have.
Right. Cool.
um, but yeah, in regards to everything that you kind of offered in this kind of meeting,
Real
you
quick, let me
know,
interject just in case someone's hearing this for the first time. Yeah, I put out there maybe a month or so ago that, I've done so many interviews on the show and so many solo episodes, and I love all of that. And the thing that really lights me up the most is getting to drop in one on one with people and sort of hear about where their challenges and their blocks are. And, it's always cool because you can be objective and also you're always talking to yourself in some way, shape, or form. So I found that's been the thing that's been the most rewarding for me in this journey is having people come back, whether in person or on the podcast or what have you, and saying, hey, we had that talk a year ago and it made such a huge impact on my life. And so so I thought I would dabble with bringing on listeners and kind of just spending a few minutes exploring, if I might be able to help shift anything to get through blockages, because that's really the journey for all of us. And if you're someone who would also love to potentially come on, there it will be a link in the show notes where you could actually fill out a little form and say, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. I'd love to talk to you about it. So I just wanted to preface with that. And Corey, back to you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, ever since listening to this podcast and kind of going on this long spiritual journey, leaving my job and traveling the world for a little bit and then coming back and then going through so much just like life experience in so many ways, and just deeper levels of myself dissolving into just life and who I really am. Also, like, ended up on the journey of really diving into a lot of personal development, a lot of like spiritual retreats and workshops and classes, and getting certified even in EFT with Sonia Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really great. It's such an experience, and that just like also gave me so much of like, it just kind of like shined a lot of my gifts around my ability to intuitively help people, intuitively shine a light on the pieces of them that might be stopping themselves from, achieving things. And especially in regards to love, relationships, intimacy, that seemed to be like the path that really shined through for me. And I've gotten to this place where I feel like really confident in my ability to help people through relationship, issues and relationship struggles, dynamics, all these things that I've learned throughout the years, as well as just like how to connect with people, how to solve, problems, how to navigate complex emotional issues that arise for us, how to move that through our body, a lot of embodiment, a lot of tantra based stuff. Anyway, getting to this point where it's like, I'm ready to like start to share this, to show people that like, there's help out there, and be more of service. So I'm just kind of in this place where I'm putting myself out there. It's people are, they're liking it, they're feeling it, but there's not quite the like full engagement. And I'm currently in a place where like I would love for this to be something that I do on a daily basis, that I support people with. And it's just hit a point where I have a few little clients here and there that I'm working with, and it's great. And I feel like, we're making progress. And I know for a fact I've helped many people before, but it's just that I like almost like there's this blast off that hasn't quite landed yet. And I think some of it comes down to my own confidence. And
Right.
so, yeah, I figured this would be a great chance to just like talk with someone a little more about it.
Yeah. So basically what I'm hearing is relationship coaching. And you have your own sort of path that you developed through a lot of personal development. And so I'm curious, the first thing that comes, two things that instantly come up is you mentioned confidence. And then I think the first two keywords that come up for me are confidence and inspiration. How inspired are you feeling to do the work on a scale of say 1 to 10?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the day, but certainly like on the days where I feel the most inspired, like it's like a 10.
Mm-hmm.
I often like to say, like, if there's one area of life that like I'll consistently put myself in the like discomfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually love and relationships. Like there's something about just like this feeling of putting my heart out open and raw, and its willingness to just like go through the ringer, that like some part of me loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think there's tough days where there might be just bad weather or just something really bad on the news that just gets me going, like, why am I even bothering? Or maybe someone doesn't really answer me on a call or something, or doesn't really like resonate. So then I just start to like look at myself and be like, what am I doing?
So all in all, though, it sounds like you're pretty inspired by the path, generally speaking, but then your confidence gets tripped up based off of the results that you're getting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've thought about this, but I'd like you to think about it again. Are you use the word bad, and I always, whenever I hear that, it sort of jumps out at me as like, oh, you've made a judgment about the rightness or wrongness of something, as if there's, an imperfection that's happening somewhere. And so I'm curious, how often are you in that state of, this is quote unquote bad, and I am, what's the point? I'm curious, how often is that?
I don't want to say like that often, but definitely like often enough where it's definitely comes up. There's this, I think, maybe viewpoint that I reach here and there of like, especially in regards to money. I think that's often like a key point where I keep looking at it and being like, oh, there's definitely a belief that I've reflected on many times where it's just like, I'm just not good at like selling myself, or I'm not good at managing money. I'm not good at these pieces, or there's this kind of like bad mentality that exists, I think, somewhere in there, which, yeah, I think kind of creates this little bit of a poison for myself.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have you definitely have a negative script running of some kind. I'm curious, are you spending any time in a visualization practice or drumming up sort of the energy and vibration of, imagining yourself doing it full time and feeling what that feels like? And, do you have any sort of regular practice with that?
Not often enough. But that's a good idea. I mean, it comes to me in waves.
Mm-hmm.
I was just on a trip before this in Guatemala, and I remember like seeing the digital nomads, at cafes and being like, that's what I want,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like visualizing, like, yeah, I could see myself doing this, like working with people around the world and feeling inspired and being surrounded by beautiful nature, being surrounded by wonderful people, and being in this place of support for the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do notice when I come back to my dwelling in America and like especially in the city I live in, which is Philadelphia right now, and I tend to I almost feel like there's a constriction. Like it's just like, ugh, gosh, like the city, and there's a lot of cars and all these kind of like I guess heavier concepts that just maybe keep me from staying on that like vibrant
Mm-hmm.
being in that vibrancy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what's really important with this sort of thing is you have an idea of where you're most lit up.
Mm-hmm.
And, like all of us, we all have the potential to be lit up by multiple things. You know, I've been lit up by doing a podcast for a long time. Then I felt myself less inspired in recent years, which is one of the reasons it's like I wanted to do this. Like, oh, well, I get really inspired helping other people. Let's play with that. Let's shift it up. Let's look at something different. Working on an entrepreneurial project that's like a rehash of a project that I launched in 2008. It's very different energetically than a lot of the other things I've been doing in recent times. So, have you considered, you know, you talked about the core thing that you want to experience is that digital nomad, kind of that freedom, that plenty of resources. The one thing I'm not hearing that you're doing is, and you just kind of spoke to it, is you're not you're not taking yourself into that vibrational pool very often.
Mm.
And the thing is you got to be it to see it, right? You don't do something like work in order to have something like money in order to be something like fulfilled and happy. You be something like fulfilled and happy, and then you find yourself doing and having the things that are a reflection of that. So if you can say, hey, these universe, I'm putting in an order. These are the key things that I want at a very foundational, maybe go even lower than the relationship coaching, because and maybe you can even speak to it, but I imagine there's other things that could, if you're just in an open state and I want to feel, literally listing out, I want to feel these things, these emotions, experience this level of freedom, travel, whatever. And just every day, your job is to get out of the way and let God sort of take the wheel, universe, higher self, whatever. And your job is to get into that vibrational state with every move that you make. Every move that you make, you're feeling and drumming up and setting little notes, writing it out, journaling about it. You're literally just bathing in the pool of that. And
Mm.
then with a curiousness, an excitement of, look, Corey, you already know this. You've been listening since 2016. There is no soul that has ever been that is more worthy than you of having the life that you want. What you're asking for is not really a tall order, but you've got all the story around it. One, how it's exactly it needs to look, and maybe it will be that exact path. But there are times where we go down a certain path, and then we realize, like, oh, I learned something from that, but maybe that's not it. But there's something. It's always this or something better, right? So if you can get into the state, like, hey, here's how I kind of could envision it, but I'm open that could be something even better for me. I think back to the first time I was really like my key thing was I need to call in resources. The universe led me to a travel company, which then led to 100 employees, and I had no idea of going that path, but I learned a lot. I got to use a lot of the skills of creating systems and models, and you know all the things that I learned. And so had I been so specific, if you get less specific about the thing, is what my intuition is saying here. Not that you can't do that, not that you can't be good at it. And I can even give you some ideas around, have you tried putting out there, like, you're going to offer free sessions? I don't know if you've done that sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Cool. So, but getting less specific, that's my intuition is like pulling back and your day, your job, you've got a job today. You're hired. And that job is for Corey to vibrationally drum up the base level experiences energetically that he wants to feel. You've got to be it to see it, because if you're focused on all the cars in Philly and the why nots and those people are doing it and I can't, and this place feels heavy and this is a bad and all that, you're literally giving energy to more stuckness. If you're instead like your new job every day, I'm getting up and it's only to drum up the excitement. Wow, this is what it's going to feel like. I'm using this powerful tool called my imagination, and the body doesn't know the difference. And so now I'm literally changing the cells in my body. I'm affecting the quantum field. Your job is to affect the quantum field, Corey, and you're not doing that effectively from what I'm hearing. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. I think that I have kind of, I think, slipped away from more of that magnetic mindset kind of thinking. And I know that I have done that here and there. And I think maybe just the environment I've like consistently surrounded myself in hasn't, or I have allowed myself to get, swept up into other things. I still haven't
You're
really
letting it get to you. It's affecting you instead of you affecting it. Right?
Yeah.
Your external environment is affecting your internal environment instead of your internal environment affecting your external environment. And that's the thing we've got to shift.
Yeah. I remember totally. Yeah. I remember when it was like the last day of our EFT retreat training, we did this like wonderful exercise. I'd love to do it again, where like for dinner, we all came as like our future selves 10 years from now. And like we all were dressed like really fancy, but we could only talk as our future selves in 10 years and like say like all the accomplishments we made. And I love that. I would like to, I'd like to play with that a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it's important, man, because it's what I'm hearing is you're stuck, right? You're stuck and you're not seeing the path out exactly. And so that's when it's to step aside and allow something bigger than yourself in, and you just create fertile ground for that to do what it wants to do. Your energetics are blocking the ability for it to take you. There's so much that can creatively come through if we're not swimming upstream, just allowing like the natural flow, being clear on the underlying core experiences that you want. Write them down. I want to feel free. I want to, not have to think about money. I want to be able to move around the world. I want to feel like I am really benefiting others' lives. Like whatever, write that list, look at it, read it, study it every day. Every time you say it out loud, you're casting a spell, and you're just like, and then drumming up the excitement about what it feels like to actually live there now. It's the only way, it's so easy for all of us, to get caught up in the circumstances of our life. But really the circumstances of your life are nothing more than a reflection of the vibrational offerings you've made previously. We have there's a delay in the third dimension. So if you want to know what you'll see tomorrow, look at what you're vibrating, at today energetically. So it's there's that's the thing that people, I think when we're on the other side, it's much easier to see because I think or feel or vibrate a certain way and it's instantly reflected versus delay. Right. So we're missing the correlation a lot of times. So I want to just remind you to get back to the basics.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with the worth piece of it, here's all the things foundationally, less specific, more general that I want, but then you're not feeling worthy, then that's another piece that needs to be worked on, right? Because, if you're telling yourself you're not worthy, you're convinced, or something has convinced you, whatever, however you got there, it's like you're living a lie. You're living a lie because you already know. You already know that you're one with the source consciousness that creates and animates all things. So if anyone's worthy, you're worthy because it's all an extension of you. And so really then the things that you can do to work on that, because you've got to feel the worth. Then you've got to be able to get into the vibrational flow as if it's not if, but when. It's not if, but when. And I'm not hearing or feeling, if anything, I'm hearing or feeling someone who's maybe lost hope, a little bit, and lost inspiration. Like, yep, my reality is this is where I'm at. I don't see a way out, and the only way out is within.
Right. It's what's coming up for me is my own connection to even just like magical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I know like I'm aligned, it's oftentimes in containers like retreats or festivals where all of a sudden magic is happening within those containers.
Yep.
But then like there's this kind of like broader world that I'm not actively utilizing the tools that I've like learned at these places. And even like I remember the times where several years ago I was listening to this podcast every day and like using it as much as I can and applying as much as I can. And I definitely feel I've not fallen off the bandwagon, but just like I put my attention towards, the things that I'm learning and the things that
Yep.
I'm growing. And
Sure.
and then of course like trying to make ends meet and get enough money to do what I can, and
Mm-hmm.
navigating community and community spaces. So there's been like just my attention has been on these other things, but then lost touch with that like essence of like, yeah, like I live in a magical universe and I am connected to that magic.
Yeah.
And I just haven't quite placed my attention on that.
Yeah. It's easy to do, man. It's easy to get knocked off track. And every moment is another chance to turn it all around.
Right.
You're having this moment because it's a perfect moment of reminder. It's a reminder. It's, like here you are, this podcast that you've listened to off and on for almost a decade, and you're on it talking about these things. So it's like it's a loud reminder. You talked about festivals. I know I went to a lot of festivals, had some of the most magical experiences of my life at festivals, at transformational festivals. And guess what? Your new job is to throw a personal festival every day inside of yourself. Every day you're doing something that's a monotonous job to make ends meet that isn't necessarily where you'd like to be long term. What if you absolutely loved it while you were there and said, wow, I'm doing this, and if I'm doing it, it must be because it's the perfect thing for me to be doing in this moment to lead me to the next greatest and grandest version of myself. So I'm going to bring that festival energy, that vacation vibration, as a friend, Charles, I haven't talked to in a long time, he talks about Charles Clay. He's on the show years ago. Vacation vibration was his thing. Vacation vibration, that travel vibration that you want every day. You want to see it as your personal reality. You've got to be it to see it. You've got to be it first, not find a bunch of solutions out there to move around in order to get to it. And that's the good news. The good news is you can do it. You can do it exactly from where you're at, but you have to, start doing a different approach, because the approach you're doing, it isn't working. You need to get really serious about your vibration and drumming it up. I've gotten more serious, way more serious. You'd think I was always the most serious about it. No, this is me too. The last 6 months, I woke up last night at 2:30 in the morning, kind of awake. I get up, meditate, affirmations I've created an altar. I don't know if you have an altar, if you've ever done that.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. In front of my altar, I'm at 3 a.m. I'm up, like literally like drumming up the vibration. I'm awake. I'm not okay. I've got free time. I'm awake. I can't go back to sleep. I'm going to utilize this. And the cool thing is it feels really good. You get high. You start you're tapping into source energy. You're saying, hey, I need more of you, source, higher self, God, universe. Let me engage with you and open my heart and mind and align with you. And that's the beautiful thing is that's all, you've got all the tools right where you are. You don't need to, your job isn't to figure out the end result. Your job is to be a vibrational match for the base level of the end result. And then watch the magic and learn to turn over the rocks and follow the inclinations and breadcrumbs. That's actually what we signed up to do. And then we get so caught in the illusion of oh, I'm supposed to be in charge. I'm the one driving. I got to figure everything out. I've got to, no, that's where you're falling off. There's an intelligence that's infinitely beyond self and yet a part of self that you made an agreement with to do a divine dance with. I'll do this, do my part, you do your part, and you're trying to do everyone's part, and you wonder why you're getting worse results than the intelligence that creates all things, you know? And so that's it. That's the path. And the good news is you have it within you right now. There's nothing that's got to transpire, and then you can get started. You can get started. You know, we got started right now. Here we are. We're in the vibrational pool. You can feel it, right? I'm feeling it. We're feeling it. The listeners are feeling it. Okay, how do we stay here? The more we stay here, the more magical it's going to get. It's that simple and that difficult.
Yeah.
And it's really quite simple at the end of the day. You just have to make it a daily conscious effort, a practice, more ritual, more connecting, consciously connecting with the divine and drawing in. And then you're rewiring your brain in the process. You're rewiring your genes, different genes are turning on and off. You're affecting the quantum field. That's where the power is. And you can do it.
Yeah.
You're doing it now.
Yeah. I mean, as you're speaking, I'm just getting like, it's almost like you're just activating like codes in my body that are like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, wait a minute.
So much drudgery looking at the overcast skies and the ugly cars and not knowing how to figure out the job that really isn't mine to figure out. Like, yeah, of course you're not as good at it. It's not really your role. Your role is to learn to tap into faith and to engage with source. That's the job. And guess what? You are qualified. You are worthy. You are really, I mean, your heart, you have such a great heart, such a beautiful heart. I know you personally. I've met you personally. I'm like, feel you now. Like your heart is beautiful. That is the ultimate. I mean, you are a success, my friend. The fact that your heart is open and loving and beautiful and wants to serve, congratulations. You already made it. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're already it. You're already is so freaking worthy. You have to feel and believe that the way I believe it when I'm saying it right now. You have to. That's your work. That's your work. And you can do it. Yes. You've already done it. You're just catching up to it. This is the dance.
Yeah. This is just a reminder.
Just a reminder. That's right. Well, wow, we've already been at it almost 30 minutes. That went kind of fast. Any other thoughts or questions, or as we sort of wind down here, that you would like to address?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like besides just like visualizing and meditating, like what else can I do? Like what other actionable things could I like do to make sure that I like keep this, you know?
Yeah. Well, here's one actionable thing we can do right now. Anyone out there listening who would like a free session, who believes in Corey the way I believe in Corey, reach out to him for I don't want to speak too much for you, but some level of a free session. And then if that goes well, I'm assuming then you offer to continue engaging. And so I would like to put that out right now as an action step that we can accomplish a lot with a little. A lot of people will hear this, right? And so, yeah, we'll put how to contact you. Maybe you can say also, and then I'll also put it in the show notes.
Sure. Yeah. They can definitely reach out to my Instagram account. I'm pretty sure it's called, because I started it not that long ago, but it's called Encouraging Love.
Beautiful.
And you can, just in encouraging love.
Okay.
And you can reach out there. I think I have my calendar actually available there for like discovery calls and whatnot.
Yeah.
So definitely happy to put that out there.
Yeah. So what is this? This is an example of just a little side quest that popped up that you got invited into. You reached out, you made the effort, you listened to the ping to reach out. I then answered the ping. Here you are. Now you just, this isn't something that you necessarily could have planned as a part of your, my strategy and long-term business model to reach people, right? And yet here we are. So it's a good example of, things and they'll pop up again and again. Oh, I've got a new idea, or someone shared an idea with me, or oh, this opportunity to give a talk at a festival, or whatever it is. Like, you just trusting that. Once again, I hate to say only focus on the energetics internally, but it's like everything starts from there. And then when you're feeling inspired to make a move, take action and trust that you'll get shown what to do next. The right people will maybe give you advice, and in the meantime, let's say you're doing something to make ends meet that isn't your highest excitement. Trust that it's there to shape you and prepare you. Because a lot of times I believe it's like you're doing the thing that isn't necessarily the your greatest and highest excitement, and yet it's there for a reason. In order, can you bring your inspiration and magic and that vacation vibration to doing that mundane thing? Because if you can, you elevate yourself out of it. Like, if you can't, you might keep yourself stuck in it. So maybe it's just training grounds for you to prove who and what you say you are.
Right. Yeah. It reminds me of, what was his name? I wanted to say it's Derek or something. He used to be on your show, who had a podcast. Yeah. He would often say, like, it's the ultimate weight loss program.
Yeah.
I love that.
Derek Rydell talked about waiting tables. He was an actor and waiting tables, and he was so depressed, and it wasn't his calling, and he's serving his peers. What was his peers? Now he's embarrassed serving them food, and then it hits him like, oh, if I'm here, I must be here for a reason. I'm going to be the best waiter that's ever existed and just bring all the magic I can muster to this otherwise mundane task. And next thing you know, he's just crushing it. And he's outshining everyone else so much, he becomes not even a fit for the place anymore. And they end up like letting him go. And within a month of that, he finds himself through circumstances he could have never planned for, giving a talk, getting on a private jet somewhere. Like, the universe is ready to unfurl its magic in your general direction. But you got to be magic in order to have that reflected back, because there is no out there. And so, you're in what happens when life beats you down, right? And then you succumb, and then your light gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And you got to find a path to reignite the light. And, no one can do it for you. We can talk about it here together, and we can we can fan the flame. And now you got to find the ways to keep the flame going, And that's the job for all of it. We all have the same job.
Right. Just gonna put a big Post-it note down that says "Reconnect to Magic."
Yeah, great idea. I have little sticking. It's great that you said that. I have little. You can order on Amazon these little. They're like mini whiteboards.
Yeah.
And they'll stick almost on anything, and you can change it. I have them all over, 6 of them around my room right now. I'm looking at one right now. Speaking of love, I'm looking at one that says, "The love destined for you will take your breath away." So every time I look in this direction, I see that one. If I go walk across the room, I see a different one. If I, and it's just constantly drumming up the vibration of that, right? So, and it's fun. It's playful. Get playful. You're a playful guy, right? I've seen you over the years in your highest expression. It's like this kind of playful, elven, joyous, be that. And especially, and where do they put a lighthouse? In the darkness. So if you're in Philly and it seems dark, guess what? You're there to bring that energy. And it's everything, bro. It's everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's something that I've experienced, like those little times of magic where something wasn't quite aligning, and then I just like trust and like keep on just being myself, that like, oh, of course, it's come through. And I've witnessed it so many times before. And then I guess it's just, every now and again, the dark kind of likes to creep in.
It is, it's medicine, right? Yeah. It's like, it's providing contrast. The question is, have you had enough contrast? If you have, then get it back to the core of who and what you are. A worthy, divine soul who's destined for all the greatness that anyone could ever hope for. You've just got to be in the vibrational, pathway for it. You got to be in alignment with it. And the good thing about that, it does not start by something happening external of yourself at all whatsoever. Right. It never can. It always is first within you.
Yeah. I always made that joke, is just like literally one of my business name is To the Core, because my name is Corey. So
yeah.
It's like that. The core right there. And it's just funny. Like, when I think my mom randomly named me, not even thinking of core or Corey right. Center. And when I started to like get older, I was like, I never liked my name. And then I realized, wait a minute, no, my name means like the heart of all things. Like what, like, so it's just like the synchronicity of that is by itself. Like I'm embodying that as much as I can.
And then we'll go a step further. Pugliese, you're like, yay, it's shitty, woo, all right, I'm gonna celebrate anyway.
Yes, I love that.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Oh man, you'll never think of your last name the same again.
No, it's like the lotus flower,
and then you'll spell it, and it'll be a reminder to celebrate through anything that's coming. Anything you can dance in the rain, right? You can. So, and that's beautiful. That is that's poetry. That is life lived as art. The one dancing in the rain and able to drum up magic and childlike wonder and keep your heart open regardless, when it's not so beautiful outside and the cars are ugly and the sky is overcast and whatever, right? That's creating a artist, and that's what you're here to be. So
right. Yeah. Especially in this time period, I feel like it's just more of us are needed, so desperately
for you to anchor the vibration, because by doing that you affect your personal quantum field and the collective quantum field, and that's your work. That's your work that you came here to do. So get to work, bro.
Whew. Hell yeah.
All right, my man. Heaven yeah.
There you go. That's better.
I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to come on and share, and I'll have a link in the comments. Like I said, if anyone out there would like to do the same at some point, perhaps it will align if it's meant to align, and then you can fill out that form and then reach out to Corey, guys. Let him show his magic. Let him be the conduit for your relationship. And his heart. What do we got to lose, right? His heart, pure, well-intended, powerful heart, focused on sending life force your way. It's the giving that we receive. So give him that opportunity and give yourself that opportunity. And we're doing it together. So that's all I got for you today. Corey, anything else? Any last word?
Just thank you for all that you've done for myself and so many other people who have been changed and helped and guided along by your words and everything you've done. It's just been a blessing.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It's the pleasure has definitely been mine, and I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to do this today. So thank you for, like I said, your vulnerability, and all of you out there for listening. You give our life meaning, right? We're all giving each other's life meaning, and that's a beautiful thing. The good news is we can't lose. It's not if, but when. It isn't over if you haven't won. So it's like, how long do we want to linger in, more mundane, let's say paths. And if there's nothing wrong with it either, that's divine too. So really the question is have you had enough of the contrast, and are you ready for more? And I think you are. You wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I look forward to hearing an update from you, and perhaps we'll share that with the listeners at some point when you're jet setting around, dancing about the world stage. So, all right, Corey, thank you, my friend. Thank all of you. Thank all of you out there for tuning in your beautiful brainwaves and incredible hearts. Until next time, journey well.